Hey guys, welcome to OmniTech Podcast, the podcast where we chat about all things tech. And today, we're going to talk about wireless technology and its drawbacks. You know what wireless technology is, right? It's the stuff that lets us connect to our phones, laptops, tablets, smartwatches, and other gadgets to the internet and to each other. It's the stuff that lets us stream music, videos, games, and podcasts like this one. Yeah, it's the stuff that lets us control our smart home devices, lights, thermostats, cameras, and locks. And as well, is the stuff that lets us communicate with our friends, family, colleagues, and customers. Wireless technology is awesome. It makes our lives easier, more fun, and more productive. It frees us from wires and cables, which can be annoying, costly, and limiting sometimes. But wireless technology also has some drawbacks. It can cause some problems and challenges that we need to know about and deal with. In this episode, we're going to look at some of the main drawbacks of wireless technology and how we can overcome them, because we need to use wireless whether we like it or not. And the first drawback of wireless technology is security, which is one of my main concerns here. Wireless networks are more exposed to hacking, snooping, and messing than wired networks. Wireless signals can be easily picked up by anyone who has the right gear and skills. Hackers can get into your personal or business data, steal your identity or money, or just mess up your network performance. This can have serious consequences for your privacy, safety, and probably reputation sometimes, depending. Imagine if someone hacked into your email account and sent spam or malicious messages to your contacts. Or if someone hacked into your bank account and transferred your money to their own account. Or if someone hacked into your smart home devices and turned off your lights, unlocked your doors, turn off the AC when it's 150 degrees in your house, and on, which, as you see, yes, there are drawbacks. Unfortunately, as much as I don't like to make this video, I feel the urge to make it. And to avoid this from happening, you need to protect your wireless network with strong encryption, passwords, firewalls, and antivirus software. Encryption scrambles your data so that only authorized devices can read it. Passwords prevent unauthorized access to your network or devices, and firewalls block unwanted traffic from entering or leaving your network. And lastly, antivirus software detects and removes malware from your devices, which it's helpful if it's set up properly. You also need to stay away from public or unsecured Wi-Fi networks for important stuff, like online banking or shopping. Public Wi-Fi networks are often open or have weak security measures. Anyone on the same network can see what you're doing online or intercept your data. Unsecured Wi-Fi networks are also easy targets for hackers who can set up fake networks or redirect you to malicious websites. And that's not limited to public networks, by the way. That can happen in private networks as well. You should also be careful about what you share online and who you trust with your info. Don't post personal or sensitive information on social media or other public platforms, and like we said on the previous video, I'm not gonna repeat the whole thing again. And obviously, don't click on links or attachments from unknown or suspicious sources, and don't give out your passwords or other credentials to anyone. And if your question is, well, how do I know what those attachments or suspicious sources are if I don't even click them because maybe the email looks legit? Well, in my channel a few videos ago, I made a video about Microsoft Sandbox. It's a free tool if you have Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise, and 11 Pro or Enterprise, whatever that may be in that case. You can have that for free. Go watch that video and you can test all those suspicious links or files or attachments in that sandbox. If you see any hallucinations to that sandbox, well, you got your answer. It's not a good file to open in your main computer. And let's get back on track. The second drawback of wireless technology is reliability, which is a big deal. Wireless networks are more likely to lose signal, get interference, and get congested than wired networks. Wireless signals can be affected by physical stuff like walls, floors, ceilings, furniture, and appliances, believe it or not. They can also be affected by environmental stuff like weather conditions, electromagnetic waves, radio frequency noise, and other wireless devices like microwaves and whatnot. I know you may not believe that part, but it's a fact, scientifically proven, that wireless networks are prone to these problems, and this can affect the quality and speed of your wireless connection. You may experience slow loading times, buffering issues, dropped calls, or disconnections. If you're especially using your phone to do calls over Wi-Fi, that could be a problem. And you may also have trouble connecting to certain devices or services like your smart door. I don't know, why would you have that? Smart cameras, which a lot of them are wireless, even though I personally prefer the cameras with a DVR that are connected to an IP that I have in my house, and I can connect to my own internet, my own DVR, and the footage goes on that DVR. Especially if you put a 2 terabyte hard drive on that DVR, you will be golden. And trust me, if you think there's too much trouble to install the cables through your roof and whatnot, try the troubles of not paying your monthly subscription for the cloud service that sometimes doesn't really work, and it's limited up to a month sometimes, which is exactly what you don't want. In my DVR setup, for example, I can review footage as far as a year ago, because every time my 2 terabyte hard drive goes to 95%, I just take it out, back it up to another drive, put it back in the computer or DVR, and that is it. I keep all the footage. If I want to just wipe it clean and not use any of the footage or not keep any of the footage, I can do that as well. And especially if you record at 720p, which in my opinion is actually more than enough for security cameras, unless you're a big bank or something that's, commercial is different story. They use NVR, not even DVR. In my case, I don't see a reason to go wireless except for convenience, but it's not very convenient when it's not safe and when you cannot even use it. And the monthly payments, I don't care how rich you are, it's just I don't see it very practical. Yes, with the wired cameras and DVR like I'm talking about, is a headache when you first install them. After that, there's absolutely nothing else you have to do about them. And plus, with the wireless cameras, another problem is you have to plug them all one by one on the wall. So it's not exactly that much of a wireless setup. And the other ones that are solar or battery operated, they're not that great either if you have a period of time without a lot of sun. And yes, the solar panels degrade quite fast because they're tiny. And let's not get out of that. So, back on track, there's ways to improve the reliability of your wireless network, which you need to pick a good spot for your router or access point. Your router or access point is the device that broadcasts the wireless signal to your other devices. I assume you know that. And you should put it away from sources of interference and close to where you use your devices most often. So, in a room where you have your computers, for example, that is fine. But you don't want to put it exactly on the kitchen where you have your stove, you have your microwave, you have your oven, you have your range, you have your refrigerators, you have your TVs. That may not be the best spot. Even though personally, again, I use wired on everything. And since I have unlimited data on my phones, I don't really use Wi-Fi on my phones either. But if you use Wi-Fi, there is quite a lot of work actually to keep it up and running. It's not as easy as plug and play. So sources of interference include almost any metal object sometimes actually, and sometimes cordless phones, believe it or not, baby monitors, Bluetooth devices, which sometimes some TV remotes are Bluetooth activated. Yes, that could be a problem for it, which these can create noise or block the wireless signal from reaching your devices. And yes, that's what wireless is, just like the radio. It's some kind of noise that your devices listen to, and that's how the data is transferred. And yes, for this one, I made another video there that where I transfer picture from one phone to the other just with noise, generating a certain amount of noise or sound on one of the devices, putting the other device on listening mode and actually transfer the picture from one phone to the other only with that sound. And yes, you can find that on my channel somewhere too. Back on the track. I'm getting out of track quite a few times today, and I apologize for that, but I believe that if I don't give you enough context and surrounding information, what I just say doesn't exactly make sense. Plus, this is a podcast. I'm assuming you may not be exactly sitting down and watching this video most of the time, and most of the listeners might be either driving or doing work and just listening to a podcast, which I extremely appreciate you and your attention and your time that are given to me and my channel. I do not take it for granted. Back on track again for the third time. And sometimes, to answer your question, how can you deal with it? Because one room has the computers, not the whole house. Well, there are repeaters or extenders to boost the signal, which can boost the range and coverage. And those repeaters depends on the company you want to go with. Sometimes even your ISP might have them. Rarely, but they might. And you can ask for them. Or just hit Amazon and check for Wi-Fi repeaters and boosters. They're actually not exactly the most expensive things. And now, after this really quick noise of music, we will get back to the third drawback, which is kind of interesting, and you have to take it with a grain of salt since I am not a medical professional, but I will have to tell you what I've studied and based on my observations. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The third drawback of wireless technology is health. And as I said, nothing on this video should be taken as advice of any kind. Wireless technology uses radio waves or infrared light to send data. These are forms of electromagnetic radiation that may have some bad effects on our health. Some studies have suggested that exposure to wireless radiation may cause headaches, insomnia, fatigue, memory loss, or even cancer in rare cases. And this is because wireless radiation may damage our cells or DNA, alter our brain activity, or disrupt our hormonal balance. These effects may vary depending on the frequency, intensity, duration, and distance of exposure. They may also depend on individual factors such as age, gender, health status, and genetic makeup, which are real things in the medical field. And as I said, I'm just saying this based on what I just studied for a few days to see what could be another drawback besides the technical part of it. Because obviously, as important as the tech part of wireless drawbacks is, health drawbacks and health problems due to wireless technology are far more important than anything else. And that's why I felt obliged to actually mention this part of the wireless drawbacks on this podcast. And to reduce the health risks of wireless technology, you need to limit your exposure to wireless radiation, which is the obvious point. You should avoid using your wireless devices for too long or holding them close to your body. You should also turn off your wireless devices when you're not using them or when you're sleeping, especially when you're sleeping. You should also keep a safe distance from routers or access points, especially if you can put them in a closet or a room in a corner of the house, just to be enough to broadcast for your devices, but you are not physically too close to the routers. That is just a suggestion based on what I've heard from the doctors, not me myself. And avoid putting them near your bed or workspace, as we said. These are some of the main drawbacks of wireless technology that we need to know about and deal with along the line. Wireless technology obviously has many benefits, but also some drawbacks that we need to balance. By taking some simple steps and precautions, we can enjoy the benefits of wireless technology while minimizing its drawbacks. But keep in mind, just like everything else, wireless is not flawless. Wireless has drawbacks, wireless has problems, just like everything else in life. And everything should be taken with the necessary precautions and information without taking it for granted. Just because a company is credible in producing a device, it doesn't mean that that device will cause unintended harm. Not that the company was trying to be harmful towards you or anybody else, but unfortunately devices are not exactly what they predicted either. And that happens more than we think about. And the last point I would like to make here before I get out of your hair would be something that I was butchered in one of my videos in the comments, and I am always open to comments and talking to all of you, and I don't mind even if you have comments that are the opposite of mine. That's what makes YouTube beautiful. You listen to me and I can listen to you. That's how it works in life. If we don't listen to each other, then we have no conversation and no information exchange. So we both just remain in echo chambers, I guess then. And the last one, I was saying, audio technology does not need to be wireless technology. And I remain firm on that. Especially to me, audio has a special place in my heart. So when I listen to audio, I want it to be the crispiest possible. There is no other way about it for me but wire. Wire has almost zero lag, zero interference, and zero problems. Now, are there great and amazing wireless headphones and wireless speakers? Absolutely yes. But when you weigh the drawbacks versus advantages, obviously wired audio wins every single time. And this is just my opinion and my personal preference. Not to persuade you to drop those $500 Apple headphones that you bought. They are amazing. They're just not for me personally. And with that said, that's all for today's episode. Thank you for listening. And stay tuned for more videos and podcasts on the channel. And we'll see you next time. Bye!